So welcome everyone. It's a great pleasure to be here with you today and to again share more inputs in leading the change and introduce you further to our new master program in global sustainability leadership. This is a master program co-designed and co-developed between our two institutions you see there on our background, so UNITAR and TU Dublin, and it comes from our joint commitment towards sustainability. While the others come in, I already invite you to maybe share a bit your name and where you're coming from, just for the team to have an idea. Yeah, we would like to check where you are coming from and the diversity of our audience. I also thank you for making the time to be here today. My name is Alexandra Severino. I'm a programs coordinator on the online learning and education unit at UNITAR and program coordinator for this amazing program. I'm joined today by my dear colleagues that I'll introduce in a minute. But before, I just wanted to give you a quick overview about what we are looking at today, how you'll spend your time with us. And in the meantime, make yourself comfortable in this virtual room. We are really excited to have you here. So when we were discussing, based also on some expressions of interest and the rationale for this session, we thought it could be a great idea to give you a bit of more detail in terms of what we have to offer you and also what some of our courses will be about. So that's it. We have our dear faculty members to introduce you to 4 of our modules. There are many more, but we needed to make some choices here. And to give you a glimpse of the level of expertise you would find with us, but also kind of a taste of what this community looks like. And we hope you feel already very, very welcome and you feel a bit of the energy that we cultivate as a team. And then just to reassure everyone, there will be time after my colleagues go through their modules and share some ideas with you. There will be time for you to ask questions. We have a dedicated space for that. But also, while you're here, if some reflections come up, feel free to drop them in the chat. I'll collect them. Or the Q&A box that you have here on Teams for your perusal as well. Because I'm super excited to go to the other side and be close to you, just listening to my colleagues. Without further ado, I'll introduce you to them. So we have with us today Dr. Kieran O'Carroll, lecturer in enterprise and sustainability at TU Dublin. And today, Kieran will share with us insights into integrating sustainability practices within business and governance, highlighting his background in sustainability consulting and academia. We then move on to Dr. Dolapo Fakuade, Director of Intelligence, Security and Disaster Management Programs at University of Derby. And today, Dr. Fakuade will discuss her approach to teaching disaster management, emphasizing crisis response and security solutions in the context of sustainability. Also with us is our dear guest expert, Mr. Jon Mark Walls, a business development manager at Wyss Center for Bio and Neuroengineering and a former UN specialist among UN colleagues here. And today, Mr. Walls will outline his course on strategic communications and policy development, focusing on their role in global sustainability efforts. Last but not least, my dear colleague, also part of the program team, Dr. Etain Kidney, Head of School Marketing and Entrepreneurship at TU Dublin. And Dr. Kidney will delve into how social entrepreneurship principles drive impactful societal change and sustainable solutions, discussing in particular a course on social innovation and entrepreneurship. And then we'll go then to our space for questions and answers and exchange. But just a small note to say that because we didn't want this to be a one-sided session, there will be also some points in my colleagues' intervention where we'll ask you to input. We want to hear from you on key topics that are covered by our program. So expect a bit of interaction we are excited about that part too. Without further ado, I will hand over to Kieran, to you, for your
Thanks so much, Alex.
into your module.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. And it's great to see so many people joining us today from so many places around the world. Delighted to see so many people eager to learn about our global sustainability leadership course. My name is Kieran, and I'm from Technological University Dublin, and I've taught sustainability leadership to senior leadership teams across the public sector and private sectors in Ireland and the UK. And I will be teaching the sustainability leadership module on this course. And I'd like to kick things off a little bit by talking about sustainability leadership and why the world needs people like you to become sustainability leaders. As we speak, global leaders are facing monumental challenges: climate change, ecosystem collapse, social inequalities, to name just but a few that jeopardize our collective futures. As the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres describes, what we are living through is an age of chaos. And despite multiple warnings from bodies like the UN, like the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, and numerous others, there remains a huge gap between our current sustainability practices and the transformative actions we so urgently need. And from a leadership perspective, to put it bluntly, our current leadership model just isn't fit for purpose. Traditional command and control leadership prioritizes short-term, rigid hierarchies and centralized decision-making. And what we need is new leaders, ones that think long-term, that are inclusive, collaborative, and transparent, leaders that foster cultures where sustainability is embedded in every decision and where diverse voices are heard and valued. And as my colleague Alex said, we want this to be interactive. So I'd really like to hear from all of you now. Could you please join us on Mentimeter? I hope my colleague Anna will set this up for us, hopefully appearing on screen. I'd like to know from you what attributes you think a sustainability leader should have. What qualities, values, attributes should they possess? So I'll give you guys a couple of seconds, use the QR code, get yourself into Mentimeter, and just make a few submissions, just words that you think a sustainability leader should possess, and we'll create a word cloud together. That's great. Starting to see a couple of responses come in. Terrific. Fantastic. Keep going, guys. Give us a few more. Brilliant. Okay, great. Looking at the word cloud, I see words like empathy, I see insights, influencer, communicator, critical thinking. Absolutely fantastic. Keep going. Each of these attributes reflects deep insight into what it takes, not just to manage and get by, but truly lead in sustainability. And the variety, I think, of words that you show there underscores the complex nature of sustainability leadership, where multiple skills need to be forged together to solve the complex problems that we face. Absolutely great. So this visual representation from your contributions perfectly illustrates why our sustainability leadership module emphasizes a holistic approach. And I want now to transition to talk to you a little bit about what is on the module itself. And the aim of this module is not just to educate, but really to empower you, to give you a comprehensive toolkit of skills and knowledge that are essential for effective sustainability leadership in your organizations. So just to run you through what is in the module itself, well, first of all, you'll gain a deep knowledge of sustainability challenges we face. Leadership begins with having a deep, profound understanding of the pressing issues, and we'll dive into them, exploring their root causes and how we can tackle them effectively. Next, we'll cover systems thinking, a topic that I find very exciting. And I know when a lot of people study systems thinking, it helps them to see the world very differently. You'll learn to approach problems holistically, recognizing patterns, relationships within systems, leading to more effective and comprehensive solutions. So yeah, a lot of people come away from studying systems thinking, really approaching challenges and solutions differently. And of course, leadership is never a solo journey. We'll look at stakeholder engagement, bringing in different voices, valuing them, inputting them into solutions that amplify efforts and create meaningful change. At that point, you'll be ready to look at developing strategic planning skills, developing strategies that deliver real results, teaching you to craft plans that respond to challenges, aligning with your organization's core objectives and your stakeholders' needs, looking at big picture goals and how you can incorporate them into day-to-day operations, making sure that we have strategies that don't just sit on the shelf gathering dust, but are actionable, effective, and lead to real impact. Then strategies need to be communicated. So we'll talk about effective, and we'll do exercises on effective communication, exploring how clear, persuasive communication can bridge gaps, inspire action, and foster understanding. And last but not least, we'll definitely dive into innovation. How can we look outside the box, the latest technologies, the latest practices available to us? And this links in nicely to the assessment that's part of this module, where we'll engage in practical assessment that combines all of the above to simulate solving real-world sustainability issues, applying your learning in practical and impactful ways, preparing you to tackle real-world sustainability challenges. And that's really the core of what we'll be looking at in this module, say a toolbox of solutions that you can take off the shelf to drive your sustainability leadership abilities forward. I'd like to hear from you again now. I've talked about kind of quite a few elements there that we'll cover on the module. I'd like to know what you're most excited about. What would you most like to learn? What gets you going? You know, is it the deep knowledge of sustainability challenges, learning about systems thinking, strategy, communication, effective stakeholder engagement, the latest innovations, or is it all together? What motivates you? What makes you excited about the most excited about the different elements of this module? That's it, guys. Dive in. Very good. Give us a few answers. Keep going. I know there's more than 4 of you. Great to see some answers coming through. Keep going. Okay, fantastic. Well, keep sharing the answers there. We got kind of, I'm very delighted to see stakeholder engagement very high and all of the above very high as well. And one of the really interesting developments as well in stakeholder engagement, particularly in my part of the world with EU, is that nature is now considered in sustainability reporting as stakeholder. So it's that type of leadership we'll be looking into, how we bring things like nature and so people that work in supply chain into stakeholder engagement and put them at the center of sustainability strategy and policies. Well, I hope that's been an interesting overview of the sustainability leadership module. What I'd like to say, if you'll hear from my colleagues too, but really I'd love to interact, engage with you and see you on this course and see you sign up for the Expression of Interest Forum later today. So without further ado, I'll hand over to my colleague, Dolas.
Thanks, Kieran. That was really good introduction into, and I could see in the cloud for some of your questions, people mentioning critical thinking. And this is what makes the next module, the one I'm leading, quite important. So another day in my field, disaster, we see disaster, we deal with crisis, we deal with terrorism and what have you. These are common phenomena in what I do. But as you all know, as we're all aware, you always don't have sufficient information. What decisions needs to be made, regardless of whether you have information or not. Actions need also to be taken to save life, properties, to prevent escalation of crisis, to restore normalcy, and what have you. And this is why critical thinking is very important. It's a skill that is essential in my field and is a skill that is also essential in sustainability leadership. Why is it important? Is because it is the ability to identify and define problems. As a sustainable leader, you all need to be able to identify what the critical salient problems are in your particular niche, even though it is a shared or common problem around the world, but also recognize assumption and be able to apply and evaluate the situation. But beyond critical thinking, creativity also helps in deciding and developing novel solutions. And in emergency management, disaster management, crisis management, conflict management, we do need creativity to be able to create invaluable solutions to overcome uncertainty, which seems to be a common phenomenon, to overcome or to deal with complexity, and to understand the urgency of various hazards and disasters. And this is why both critical thinking and creativity thinking are very essential for sustainable leaders and sustainability leadership. Can I move on to the next slide, please? What is, and I've heard Karen talk about sustainability leadership, and I just want to apply why critical thinking and creativity are essential for sustainability leadership. And this is because it's a process of holistic approach. You don't treat one in a niche. Everything is a holistic approach to co-create a sustainable future that balances between simultaneous and sometimes contradictory demands of economical, social, and environmental solution. And this just gives you an insight, a preview into some of the complex issues that might emerge from the interaction that comes with economy and social and environmental solutions that we need to prefer into sustainability leadership. It's also an inclusive approach. And it's a good thing that from the cloud and from the mentee, you already identify stakeholders, because this is not a go it alone, it's a team sport where we have to work in collaboration. And this is because sustainability leadership requires a process where you embrace ethical values, system thinking, cognitive diversity, and reflective practice, and reflexibility and resilience. And it's important to see that word resilience coming. But it's also an intricate aspect of sustainable performance. We do have to see results. We have to see some outcome. And this is why critical thinking and creativity skills are essential for any sustainable leader or anybody committed to sustainability leadership. Because that sustainable performance is moderated by psychological empowerment. And this is what we want to do with this MA, to empower you in whatever field you're into, to be able to go on and work in dynamic and complex process where you work with other leaders and teams to promote sustainable outcome for your businesses or society in the short term. But because the short term is also committed or connected to the long run, there needs to be an interaction between the two. And so, next slide, please. So this is why this is important as critical thinking. Now, going to my module, this is exciting because that is why it's a core module. It is a bridge between scholarly talk, and I have left the gap there for you to fill in the gap, whatever it is that you want to do with this. And this is the uniqueness of this program, the uniqueness of this module, the flexibility for you to apply it, whether into the business, whether into the sciences, whether into the environmental field, whether into health sector, name it. It's applicable towards, whether it's the third sector, humanitarian work. This is very applicable. So this module aims to provide learners with the knowledge, tools, experience, and support. And that would come through a number and a range of case studies, things that would touch on regional issues, but to help you, excuse me, to become more constructive and reflective agents of change. We want to help you to develop competences to confront complex. I can see the application of what we do in my field, messy situation, ambiguous problems, or make new connections and visualize alternatives that can be more useful and favorable, regardless of your sector, regardless of your situation, and of course, regardless of your country or region. And this is quite important because overall, we need to be able to equip you to create appropriate pathways for creating alternative ideas. And this is where creativity comes in. We don't have to be able to think outside the box, practices, solutions that are unique and effective for the organization or the project of your choice. So you can see why critical thinking, and particularly this mode, which is critical thinking, creativity, imagination, and perspective, it's the bridge. And you see the picture there about the bridge. We want to connect you, use that module to connect you from the issues to the world. So the last slide here, as a wrap up, is the mentors. So if you go and, scan the QR code, you would see the question there. And if you want to also use the link, you'll see the questionnaire. Because, and you can put in the word that comes to the mind. Reason why that question is important is because we also understand that opportunities and challenges to be considered. Yes, so what factors may hinder sustainability leadership in your organization or project? So I'll give you a couple of minutes to, oh yes, I can see Jon say yes, that creativity is absolutely essential, but can you just put some responses, if you can scan the QR code, put some responses there. What factors do you think may hinder sustainability leadership? Fear of change, good one. Cost. I was looking forward to that word cost there. Yes. More. Let's keep going. Resources. Yes. These are major and real. The struggle is real. These are some critical factors. Okay. More. Let's have more lack of training. Good. And this is why this module is important. Why this masters is important. Yeah, that's a good one. Yes. Yeah, fear of change. Yeah, political will. Go on. Let's see more. Denial. Yeah. Isn't that interesting? We've been in denial for a while in terms of the impact of climate change, the impact of a changing world, but disasters and hazards brought that to fore, and the reality of things. Keep going and knowing where to start. Yes, fear of the unknown, uncertainty, bureaucracy, and it goes on and on. So keep typing things in there. But it's just important that we have some of these challenges that can hinder us. We have some of these factors mobilizing others that might limit us and make us a bit reluctant. But this also provides an opportunity to actually learn how to go forward and learn how we can approach the challenges that we face. And this is why sustainability leadership is important. So if you want to know how to, resist change, manage resistance to change, manage self and general doubt, do sign up for this MA. And I will hand over to my colleague, Jon, to build on what I've said and what Kieran and I have said, because this is quite important for you to understand and appreciate what the combination of modules that you'll be exposed to on this program. Thank you, Jon. Would you like to shed more light on this?
I'll try. So we've got a lot of work to do in the next 5 minutes. So yeah, as indicated, I'm helping do this course on activism and innovation, kind of within the broad framework of sustainability and climate change. So next slide. So part of the biggest challenge is these words, advocacy and innovation. Those words are used everywhere. And because they are everything and used everywhere, they are nothing and are nowhere. I would make that argument. They're, as we say, a mile wide and an inch deep, the meaning of those words. So I'll ask you, just think about it now. For you, advocacy, is it marketing? Is it external relations? Is it politics? Is it public affairs? Is it lobbying? Is it backdoor one-to-one negotiation? Is it protesting? What is activism? What is advocacy? And so in this class, we're going to do a few things. We're going to question. So what is advocacy? What is innovation? Is innovation technology, or is it policy, or is it strategy? Is it management? Is it research? Is it finance? What is it? So we're going to spend an entire 2 classes defining what the heck are advocacy and innovation. And those first 2 classes, we're going to do that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to, after we define it, we're going to frame it. We're going to create frameworks that will help us then go on to 4 case studies that we will look at that I think will be super, super interesting. So I've got a real question that we'll do to put to you. And the question is, do you think, can we have effective innovation without communication? And what is that relationship between communication and innovation? So give this a shot. do you think that that we can have effective innovation without effective communication? I'd like to hear your thoughts. Very easy, yes, no. So the challenge here, in my mind, I'll see what you have to say. We have one no, two no's. The challenge in my mind is that they're interdependent. So you've got to have, if you're going to communicate something, you got to have something cool to communicate. And if you're going to innovate something, in order to promote that innovation, you've got to communicate it outward. And so, okay, it looks like we're all in agreement. When it comes to things related to climate and sustainability, we really have to think about that interrelation. And we really have to think about how we as innovators and communicators and innovators, for us to do anything related to climate and sustainability, we cannot forget that relationship. And we have to really make sure that we are doing both at the same time, or else my argument, and a few people agree with me, the argument will be that neither will work and neither will be effective, and we won't be able to achieve our goals. So next slide. Oh, sorry. Can we have communication without effective innovation? So the point here, as I said, is that take a few stabs at this. I think I already jumped the gun on the answers. So again, what this gets to is that we have to have something to talk about when it comes to climate sustainability. It's been around for so long. I mean, with Paris, I mean, we're already 8 years deep. And so people have been talking about climate change for 30 years. And so if we don't have something new to talk about, then we're not going to really be able to have effective communication. But it looks like people are disagreeing with me, so I think you might need to join the course, and we can argue about it in class. So we'll go to the next slide. So here are our case studies. The way that we break it down after in those first two classes, when we define what we're talking about, when it's advocacy and innovation, we're going to take a look at these fields, these case studies. We're going to break it down into standards. As boring as that might sound, it's actually really cool, and how AI might be applied to that. We're going to look at the challenge within that particular thing. We're going to look at within the field. All of this is climate related, sustainability related. Within that broad field, we're going to have a particular challenge. So standards, finance, business, energy, transportation. We're going to look at that challenge, and then we're going to look at how innovation can help address that challenge. So we're going to work our way down. And then when we finally get to having defined what that new solution is to that really, really, really specific challenge, we're then going to get to how in the world do we talk about it? And that's a really big question. So one of my favorites is with the energy and the diffusion of sustainable energy. And I go back and I talk about in my hometown in West Tennessee in the US, how people have chosen to communicate these solar panels in a place where nobody really supports the use of sustainable energy. And the same type of thing is applicable in so many different contexts. So these are the case studies. As I said, some boring things that you might not have thought too much about, but again, I would argue they're super cool and super interesting. And we've tried to throw in a bit of interesting tech stuff to spice it up a bit. And then looking kind of as we get away from tech, looking at things are a bit softer, put that in quotation marks, looking at partnerships, looking at how we position things. So that gets into kind of, I would say softer relationships. And I would make the argument, and we'll make the argument in the class, that we can innovate on those. And we're just going to take a deeper look at what that might look like. Finally, I'll wrap up. In each class, we have some amazing, amazing people that are going to be joining us. I have begged and I have pleaded and I have recruited some of the coolest people that I know in the UN, and academics and practitioners, entrepreneurs, people who specialize in tech, people who specialize in communication, and they're going to hang out with you, and they're going to have a chance to, you're going to have a chance to listen to some really amazing people. So that's my pitch. I really look forward to the possibility of you joining us. I'm going to pass it on to Etain, and yeah, love to hear what's next.
Thanks, Jon Mark. I think my problem with working with this team is that rather than teach on this program, I want to take this program. So thanks to the colleagues who've talked about their courses before me. And what I'm going to delve into is the concepts that are not just transformative, but they're pivotal to shaping a more sustainable future. So the module that I deliver on the program is social innovation and social entrepreneurship. So let's start by trying to understand what we mean by social innovation. So imagine initiatives that fundamentally change the way we interact with our societies. And when we pair this with social entrepreneurship, we start to bridge thought with action. So I'm going to start by asking you to consider, what is entrepreneurship to you? And I'm going to ask you to use the chat this time. What or who comes to mind when you think of an entrepreneur? We'll just take 1 minute to see what people put in the chat. What or who comes to mind when you think of an entrepreneur? We've got Elon Musk. Right out the gate, Elon Musk. Ryanair. Okay. Probably Michael O'Leary, one of the faces of that entrepreneurial thinking. Okay. Starting from zero and just your ideas. It's the entrepreneurial mindset. Confident, human, intelligent leaders. Risk takers. Bill Gates, Steve Jobs. It's no surprise to see technology companies coming into the mix here so quickly when you consider the great disruption that they've been at the helm of. And I think it's fair to parallel the great disruption that we're experiencing in sustainability. Michelle Obama, a wonderful example of an entrepreneur. Okay, so you can see the many different types of understandings of what it is that we think of when we think about entrepreneurship or the entrepreneur. If you can take me to the next slide, I've got some examples of what we mean when we say a social entrepreneur. Mahama Yunus, Nobel Peace Prize winner in 2006, who pioneered the concepts of microcredit and microfinance, enabling people to pull themselves out of poverty through entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurial himself, indeed. Shaiza Shadid, one of the co-founders and the former CEO of the Malala Fund, focused on girls' education. Al Volay, childhood friends who work to protect the bees, fostering environmental awareness. So while what typically comes to mind is the commercial entrepreneurs and the stories that we've heard about people harnessing the power of disruptive thinking, there are many entrepreneurs who are leading the way in social enterprise and social innovation, who are making a big difference in key areas. So, as I say, when we pair this innovation with social enterprise, we start to talk about action. And social entrepreneurship is about setting up or operating a social enterprise that isn't business as usual. It's business for social impact. And it focuses on the setup or the sustainability of enterprises that prioritize societal gain alongside or instead of commercial profit. So together, these powerful concepts allow us to seize and actualize opportunities that serve the greater good. And they empower us not only to dream of a better world, but they empower us to create it. And this module is about looking at the disruptive thinking tools that can enable you to do so. So next slide, please. This course is quite unique in that you won't just be learning from the textbooks. Instead, you're going to be getting hands-on with genuine social enterprises. And you've heard, I liked your phrase, Mark, that you're going to be hanging out with the experts. You're going to be hanging out with leaders in the space. And I think that that's something that's typical of a lot of the content on this Masters in Global Sustainability Leadership. And through our innovative assessment strategy, each of you will work with a selected social enterprise. And it's not just an exercise, it's a partnership where you're expected to contribute actively to real social change. Here, your academic journey intersects with the tangible social impact that we believe this program can deliver, driving forward both your learning, but also your contribution to society. And this is about bringing classroom knowledge into real-world contexts, which is the stuff of what we do here in TU Dublin. It's where theory meets practice and where learning becomes action. We know that when you leave a program in TU Dublin and partnership with UNITAR, that you leave not just with a piece of paper, You leave with a portfolio of work that shows that you haven't just been thinking, you've been doing. You leave with a portfolio that shows that you've been applying disruptive ways of thinking about the super problems that we face. So the framework that guides our content on this module is led by Entrecomp, the Entrepreneurship Competence Framework. And this tool is designed for entrepreneurs, and it supports development across key areas, in particular, those that are critical to entrepreneurial success, the ideas and the opportunities, how to evaluate them, how to seize them, resources, how to manage them and apply them, and action, how to implement, how to do. So this module isn't just about learning. It goes far beyond traditional learning. It's about empowering you to initiate and to lead impactful social change. And I hope that you'll join me in the classroom. Next slide, please. So, would you like to find out more? You can fill in the expression of interest form in our chat. You can find out more about our programs, and you can get notified of when our applications open. We have an exciting scholarship program, which will open on June 12th, where we'll have a number of scholarship opportunities up for grabs. So join us at our next webinar to hear more about these opportunities. And you'll also have the opportunity to meet our alumni from programs across the UNITAR and TU Dublin portfolio. They'll tell you the story of their experience, and you can ask them hard questions and raise concerns that you might have. Visit our website to explore the programs, and my colleague Anna has popped all the links that you need in the chat. We'd love to hear from you about any questions that you have related to my presentation or to my colleagues who've been speaking about the classes that they're so excited to deliver on our new MA. So with that, I'm going to open us up to a Q&A, and I'm going to bring Alexandra back in to moderate.
Thank you. Thank you all. Definitely, Etain clearly outlined one of the key challenges of everyone is just always looking into each other modules and, you know, just wanting to become a student ourselves. And in a way, we are through this dialogue and conversation, and the fact that we also learn as we go, and with you from your perspectives and experiences that you will certainly bring already. As Etain said, what is expected is an active role, not a passive one on this. So we are now open. Hello, Ursula. I said, I saw it in the chat. So we have now a space for questions and answers on our side, but also for reflection and just, you know, if you would like to share some best practices, I think I've mentioned it in the chat, or needs that you feel in this particular field that are not being addressed, just feel free to write them down in the chat or the Q&A. As we also understand, I guess I can say that it makes sense that there's some concepts we explored here, even if very briefly, in my colleagues' presentations that, you know, might impel some level of reflection, and you feel that you need to think about it a bit before posing questions. We're also here to respond to any questions you might have about the program itself. I mean technical questions really about enrollments, about any other features of the program that we were not able to mention now. So really feel free to pop your questions into the chat.
Alex, I'm going to put myself in the shoes of a student, just like I would like to be. And I'm going to ask, what would the learning environment be like for me if I take a place on this program?
Very good question, I guess, and maybe I can start and you all jump in from your perspectives. So maybe I go a bit behind even to say that when we were looking into the program, that comes out of a research on our side, as I mentioned at the beginning, based on needs and let's say the current states of affairs in the world, to be very honest. And we wanted to make sure that the program was inclusive enough either to welcome young professionals wishing to embark on the journey of global sustainability leadership, but also for skilled professionals that want to move into this field or learn more about it or integrate it somehow in the work they do. And we also wanted it to be inclusive in terms of delivery. So I can say that the program is asynchronous by design. As my colleague Jon Mark was saying, there are different opportunities to check input from different experts. And we'll also have, similarly to what we are doing here, different encounters throughout the courses, the modules, where you can engage with experts in what we call expert corners or webinars and discuss specific issues. You will also have a very strong support team on the program coordination side. We'll be there for you and we'll be able to organize virtual coffees. And the goal here really is to create not only just a group of alumni when you are successful and finish our program, but a community that remains and continues to offer something to the field and to the issues that Etain particularly mentioned now about the social change we need, or for the social change we need. So indeed, it's just more than a cohort or a class, is really a community we want to build with you. And today you could see already in terms of where we are coming from and what we try to embed in the different courses, also from different perspectives and different work areas. My colleagues come from very different fields, but they all, these modules and their expertise fit in the holistic nature of global sustainability leadership and its needs. I don't know, Etain, if I forgot to mention something.
No, I think that sounds great. Alexandra, there's a question there from Hannah. Is the program administered online or in-person learning?
So the program is exclusively online. And again, sorry if I did not make that clear. So as I was saying, the idea was for us also to be able to offer the program regardless where you are in the world, and to still offer you a diverse cohort where you can exchange from people coming from different parts of the world, different experiences, and different expertise. And this is the rationale behind it, in line with the 2030 agenda and the leave no one behind principle. So yeah, the answer, yes, it's online.
We also really believe that that's fundamental to achieving the aims of the program, ensuring that you've got a diverse learning environment, that you're working in diverse and dynamic teams across the portfolio of assessment that you're going to complete, to show that you can show that you can use these new ways of thinking to solve the problems that we're trying to address with this program.
I might just jump in on that. I think one as I was reflecting on the program itself, I was thinking it was pretty neat in that all of you are, and all of us are living lives, and we are running, we are walking, we are seeing problems face to face, we're encountering them, and then we're constantly thinking about solutions, right? And so from an innovation entrepreneurial standpoint, I see this as being a pretty neat opportunity, because as you read this in the morning or in the evening, as you read this material, as you think about it on the weekends, it's going to be fresh. And so in the daily life, at your work, as you continue down, it's going to be so fresh and it's going to be so applicable, in that whatever you learn and whatever you see on that Saturday that you spend studying, you're going to be able to take to the office or to the field Monday morning. And so from my standpoint, again, as I was reflecting, I was thinking, it's actually a really neat benefit of doing this particular course in this way. So that was just a thought I had on my side.
Thank you, Jon Mark. Yeah, and for mentioning that and your reflection also from the faculty perspective. And maybe I can add something to that, to say that while we still wanted to offer you a solid program in terms of theoretical frameworks and of course with the academic value, let's say like that, we wanted to make sure, as Jon Mark was just saying, that you're able to use what we put at your disposal or build together. So this is very intentional, absolutely intentional on our side. There will be room for you to bring challenges you're currently having and working on them as we go. So again, we're just not imposing a certain content. There's this constant dialogue that is built, that is considered, and not just, and also adjusted so the learning objectives are there, but we are responding to your specific needs, and learning journey benchmarks, too. So there's definitely room to consider different angles, and different aspects. Yes, I'm just being mindful of the chat is going super fast, and oh, is it possible to do in an internship associated to it? Well, at the moment, this is certainly in the pipeline in terms of discussions. How can the program go further to include other dimensions as well? But not for the moment. And the reason why, you will be launching now, so we want to make sure everything is going smoothly, which it will certainly, and we definitely want to discuss this. But what I think, and from my experience as program coordinator in other programs, what happens when you have this diverse cohort and people coming from different fields, different locations and regions, is that you build a solid network and connections that will, of course, leverage in terms of opportunities, in terms of access, what you can, look into. So I know that I saw some alumni, as I said in the chat here, from other programs, and that is something, the network aspect, that you'll be able to learn about more in our next webinar with our alumni for sure. But while we don't have a formal internship option at the moment, there are certainly lots of connections you can do through the program, through your colleagues, and also the experts and our conversations. And hopefully there will be opportunities to explore in the future. Etain,
Yeah,
Etain,
Alexandra,
I don't know.
I'm going to build on that, because while we don't have a work placement, because I think it would be very difficult for a program that's fully online to truly incorporate a work placement, but it's definitely something that we're interested in doing in the future. What we do have is an applied research project that is really focused on enabling you to dig into the issues that interest you most across the program and allow you to bring them into context for an industry, for a sector, for a company, for an enterprise. So there is an opportunity to put things in the context of where you want to go specifically, and in a sense, to write your own professional story around what you would like to do with this program. And as a part of being a student on any TU Dublin and UNITAR partnership program, you'll have access to our careers office. You can have one-on-one support, you can have CV support, interview support, and many other things that come with being a student here. So we are very much so focused on this being something that can advance your career and give you professional benefits from the moment that you register on the program to the moment that you get the next job that you are targeting after the program.
So I'll just jump in super quick. One thing on my side is that I didn't even know what to Google. So when I was at the stage of an internship, I didn't even know what was out there. And so I know it's maybe not the best answer, but this, and especially in our class, my class, there will be an introduction to all of the acronyms and all of the organizations and all of the things that exist. And for me, that has been in the past, that was never provided to me. And so I kind of had to create my own database. And so, from my standpoint, it will be an introduction to that world that you might not know all those organizational acronyms that are out there. So that's just a quick thought on my side.
I'd just jump in. I think that's such a good point, Jon Mark. I mean, something that definitely comes up consistently in teaching sustainability leadership is there's so many different interpretations and definitions of sustainability, right? And really coming together on a clear definition, clear understandings of the terminology, what it all means, and making people on this course feel very confident that they are really happy with the terminology and what it all means, so they can build on it and go forward, will be like a really core component of this. Demystifying the fog on sustainability is absolutely part of this. And one of the parts that people find, I think, very rewarding, that kind of, aha, I get it. so like, fear not if you're worried about kind of terminology and the confusingness, which is absolutely out there on sustainability. This will absolutely deal with that, and you'll be very comfortable, I think, with the terminology in terms going forward from any of these modules.
Thank you, Kieran. Excellent points too. And I was just commenting on the chat exactly when we were answering some of the questions that we could already see. There were different illustrations of the concepts and different adjectives each one of us would put forward. So it's sometimes confusing, especially if you need to operate this at a professional level to have some sort of ground to work from is really important. But there is also a very important question that we'll have the chance to respond, Etain, about specific prerequisites or recommended backgrounds. I think I mentioned the holistic nature of the program, but maybe you can dig in more into what we are looking for in terms of target audience for the program.
Absolutely, Alex. We've designed this program to ensure that we can reach a broad audience, and what you need to participate in the program is a minimum of a 2-1 or equivalent in an undergraduate degree. Your undergraduate degree can come from any background, but you also need to have some experience that you bring to the table, and you can find out more by clicking through to our program pages to assess your eligibility. In relation to the question that we also have on scholarships, there are going to be 2 50% fee scholarships available for this program. And I mentioned earlier that we're going to launch these scholarships and the opportunity to apply for them on the 12th of June at our next webinar, when you're going to have the opportunity to hear from alumni from our programs in the space. So we hope that we see you there, and we'll answer even more of your questions. If you're signing up to our expression of interest form, we'll make sure that you get the information about the scholarships even in advance of that session.
Thank you. I don't know. So again, a lot to take in from different concepts, things to consider. We hope that we gave you a taste of the holistic, both rationale, but also articulation of these courses and programs, and our ambitions too, in terms of the change we want to produce, that goes beyond offering a master program. And I really hope that that is clear somehow, or resulted clear from our input today and our exchange.
Alex, can I just build on
yes,
one thing?
of course.
I've mentioned the next webinar, and I think it's a real opportunity for people who are interested in the program. You know, the theme of that webinar is going to be real impact, real stories of leadership and sustainability. And of course, our alumni are important to that, but it is scheduled for June 13th, and I'd said the 12th. So this session is going to showcase the experiences, it's going to showcase the achievements of alumni who've studied with us, and provide you with real world examples of the transformative nature of our courses and how we have empowered leaders in the sustainability space before. So mark your calendars, stay tuned for more details. And I know that Anna has popped a link in the chat for you to click through and get registered in advance.
Thank you, Etain. Indeed, so we hope that you're already noting it down in your calendars. And maybe before we go, what I would ask, some sort of a farewell, not a goodbye, to everyone would be to ask each one of my colleagues to share the thing they are looking for the most for their module and their learning journey also. With you, we hope to welcome you on the program. So maybe you will say goodbye with that. And I take the opportunity before I hand over. Maybe we'll do it the other way around. I'll start with Etain this time, just to thank you, the 4 of you. I always say bear with me because I love my colleagues, so I get super excited whenever I have the chance to interact with them or present them or just to hear them. Just I'm always so grateful to be part of this team. So yeah, I'll hand over to Etain, and then Jon Mark, Dolas, and Kieran to share with our audience what you're looking for the most, and then we'll say goodbye or farewell until the 13th of June.
Thanks, Alexandra. That's so appreciated. I think the thing that I'm looking forward to most, other than working with this team who's all over the world, I think we're global by the nature of our team, is the people, and getting to hear your stories and helping you to access and understand the material that we believe can make a real change in the world. So I'll hand over to Jon Mark.
Yep, I will repeat that. So speaking out to everybody on the webinar, I will say you. It's very easy to live in a bubble. It's very easy to be isolated. And we think we are being broad in our thinking, but we don't genuinely have our finger on the pulse of what's going on. And so in these discussions and these interactions with you as students, I really, for me, that's the most valuable thing because it sharpens our thinking, it sharpens our perspective, it challenges us, which is incredible. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Thank you.
And I think for me, thank you. And I think for me, it's the opportunity to share and learn. There's always a learning that comes with sharing and sharing that comes with learning. And I think for me, that's what I look forward the most. Of course, building on what everyone has said is also, hello, can you hear me?
Yes,
Can you hear
Dolos,
me?
we can hear you very fine.
Oh, okay, great. So yes, that's what I look forward the most, and just building on what everyone has said.
And it's always the worst going last on these, right? But I'm going to add
Sorry.
that. Yeah, I'm going to add that. This is going to be fun. This is something I think hopefully that you sign up for this, you're going to really look forward to your classes. Really look forward to sharing your stories and learning from each other. All of us learning together. So I really kind of, my bottom line is I hope this is going to be fun and exciting to do as well. That's something that you really look forward to each week of and studying this and joining us on it. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Thank you, everyone. So I think we'll say farewell for now, but the big thank you goes really to all of you that chose to spend a bit of your day with us and to learn more about our program. We are really grateful to have you here and for your questions and interest in attention to what we had to share. And we do hope to see everyone on the 13th of June to hear more about the program and from a different perspective, as my colleague said, from the perspective of our alumni. So you can hear more about our institutions and their experience there. And as Etain said, really ask the hard questions if you need them to make an informed choice, which we certainly commend. So I'll say goodbye on my end. It was a great pleasure being here, both with you and my colleagues. And I want to thank also to our support team, Anna Moreira from the program team as well, and our colleague at comms at UNITAR, Izaro, as well, as they are not here, but comms team at TU Dublin. Their work is extremely important in making this work and making it visually beautiful. We are also grateful for their support, and they are as part of this program and community as we are. So thank you so much, Anna, Izzy, and the colleagues from the TU Dublin comms. And I'll see you very soon. Have a good rest of the day, everyone, and thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye, everyone.